My name's Anita Campbell, and what brought me to the Secret Garden is I took out an order of protection against my husband for domestic violence abuse. He is what you call a functional crack addict at work, and
what can we do next? And supportive housing, which is essentially a permanent housing model, where people could stay for as long as they needed to learn the skills they needed to learn, is sort of the next step in what we're doing in creating what I call a continuum of care. From the emergency moment when a person is saying, I got to get out of here because I'm running for my life, to the point where they're able to say, I don't need you anymore because I can do this on my own.
This program has really helped me get myself together. And the group members are my sisters. It's my family because I don't really have family in New York.
Her significant other ran over to BarrierFreeLiving, came into the group and said, Frida needs your help. And the group literally poured out of the storefront, plopped themselves in front of the bus and said, we're not moving until Frida gets on. And I think that by the time everything was done, the police may have been called and everything else, there was a major brouhaha, but there was a sense of saying, we're standing up for the civil rights of one of our sisters who happens to be a chair user, in terms of pushing to make sure that there would be access in New York City. Every single deaf woman who came into that program did not know how to travel on a city bus by herself. These are women in their 20s and 30s with kids, but their abusers had also been their caregivers. And that's one of the things we see a lot of, and it's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, the person is depending on that abusive individual for cooking, for shopping, for transportation, for a variety of things. Even at times, I can remember a woman who came to us because her abusive husband used to get her out of bed in the morning and put her to bed at night. And if she was being punished, she just never got out of bed.
Our clientele do not come to us just because they're homeless or just because they're a domestic violence survivor. They typically come to us because different facets of their lives technically fall apart, and they need some assistance in putting all of that together.
We have a training kitchen. The purpose of the training kitchen is to have individuals that may be newly disabled to relearn how to be in a kitchen and operate in a kitchen with their disability and do that safely.
I mean, we already know how to do it, but you know, it gives you more practice, because when you're out of the loop for a while, sometimes you go through different stresses and different illnesses that, like what you used to do before, you can't do now, so you have to start over again.
The thing is wheelchair accessible or wheelchair height, so people in wheelchairs can reach most everything.
First you have to wash your hands, then after you wash your hands you put your gloves on, then after you put your gloves on then you boil the water, then you see how you use the, cut the whatever food you have, you cut it and stuff like that. How you put it on the stove, how to set the oven to like 350, put it in, use a pot holder, and then you have to make sure that you don't burn your hands in.
And often they'll get together and cook for a holiday that maybe most staff is off.
We did chocolate chip cookies, we did apple pies, Rice Krispie treats, we did cake, we did chocolate chip cookies, we did those apples with the little fruits inside of it, and we did, they made baked ziti, and a whole lot of stuff.
It's a 48-bed facility that serves people with chronic physical disabilities who require home care services. Dining room, this is where meals are served 3 times a day. We cook meals on site. Other shelters have meals delivered. We cook on site. It's nice in New York City to have an outdoor space, so clients come out here, particularly in the spring and summer, and spend time out here. We try and have a planting group or gardening group rather, with the OTs, and have people participate in what's planted and the caring of what's planted. And sometimes we've had vegetable gardens, you know, grow little peppers or tomatoes and use that in our kitchen.
Counseling, case management, occupational therapy services. We have a legal clinic once a month. We have an attorney that comes to the program to really help the clients with their legal issues, to really train staff on legal matters, and sometimes accompany clients to court when necessary.
George is the type that he definitely benefits from a more interactive program. There's a rapport between the two of us. We've known each other for years, and it helps because George listens. And one thing that he uses the program in a proper way is the ability to just lend himself to taking advice and following through, and looking at the bigger picture.
We've known each other for many, many years. You know what I'm saying? He's really familiar with the streets. We're out during the time that I was out. Like what? How many years?
At least a decade.
20 years. Yeah, back and forth in the streets. So it's hard to find people that you can really trust. When you're in a situation. But make a long story short, that the program is beautiful. They do what they can. I'm working for AM News, and I also have an application for Work Advantage. It's for housing with apartment. And Orlando seems to be working out the paperwork, the red tape.
Taking care of the details, the small details.
Typically, we would help individuals work on perhaps budgeting their finances to prepare them for their move into their new homes. At Freedom House, one specific life skill area that we work on most often is the area of parenting. We have many single parents who come into Freedom House needing skills and just being able to maintain their homes, being able to take care of their children, perhaps being able to find a job so that they can maintain their homes and take care of their children. So those are a couple of examples of areas that we most commonly work with.
Freedom House is the only shelter in the country that works with survivors of domestic violence who are disabled. So we accommodate singles, meaning, a head of household with no children, and we also work with families. We work with men and women.
We are considered a tier 1, and because we are a short-term program, many times families end up going to the homeless system, which is called DHS. This family came very close to going there, but we were able to, get them into a tier 2 domestic violence shelter. After the family left, the child had the surgery. We continued contact. It was very successful, the surgery. The family ended up getting permanent housing, and to this day, she calls sporadically whenever she can. The children are doing very, very well. She's safe.
Can we see? Me. Oh, nice. So you're all 4 brothers and sisters.
And we can do but so much for people, and we do a lot. We can neither take full credit for successes, nor can we take full responsibility for failures. And we support each other in the work, because what we're doing is challenging. A lot of what we're doing now has never been done by anybody else in the United States before.